Chosen one, the heavens, remember the day you surrendered. It was not a quiet day. It was the day heaven stood still. The stars paused their singing. The angels turned their gaze toward earth. And the breath of creation itself waited, because your heart, once torn between fear and faith, finally whispered, yes. You may not have felt the thunder, but all of heaven did. You were not alone that day. Every unseen battle, every sleepless night, every tear that fell without witness became a spark that heaven gathered into a flame. The throne room of God saw you rise from the ashes of your pain. You, yes, you who thought you were too broken, too late, too far gone, lifted your trembling hands and said, God, I surrender. That word shattered 1,000 chains. Do you realize what truly happened? Chosen one, the day you yielded. The war over your soul ended. Light claimed its territory again. Angels, who had watched in silence, erupted in a sound louder than thunder, yet softer than mercy. The moment your will aligned with His, destiny unlocked. You stepped out of the war zone of confusion and into the kingdom of purpose. Heaven did not whisper, it roared. Listen carefully. What you felt as weakness was actually divine invitation. Every heartbreak prepared your spirit for obedience. The ache that once haunted you was heaven's alarm clock, shaking you awake to your calling. When you said, enough, heaven said, at last. When you laid down your control, heaven released its applause. Do you know why it had to be hard? Because easy roads never awaken warriors. You are not ordinary. You were forged in fire. You have been chosen to carry a light so fierce that darkness recognizes you before people do. You were hidden, not forgotten, pressed, not destroyed. The delay was never denial. It was training for dominion. We are reminded through the writings of David in the Psalms. Chapter 30, verse 11. You turned my mourning to dancing, removed my sackcloth, clothed me with joy. That verse was fulfilled in your life the moment you surrendered. Heaven did not celebrate your perfection, it celebrated your transformation. God saw the trembling in your soul and called it courage. The angels rejoiced, not because of what you lost, but because of what you finally let go of. And when the heavens rejoiced, the earth began to shift. Invisible alignments took place. Doors that were rusted shut began to loosen. People who had no reason to favor you suddenly remembered your name. It was not luck, it was legacy. Your surrender activated a chain reaction across realms. Heaven's clock started moving again, timed to your obedience. Do not underestimate what your yes meant. It was not a small moment, it was a seismic shift in the spirit. While you wept in secret, God was writing your next chapter. While you doubted your worth, angels were preparing your assignment. While you thought it was over, heaven was saying, now it begins. Oh, every time you think back on that day, remember this, heaven didn't just celebrate once. Heaven continues to celebrate every time you choose obedience over fear, love over bitterness, patience over pride. You are not fighting to earn God's approval. You are walking in the favor already declared over you. The world might not see it yet, but heaven does. You carry the fragrance of surrender. Demons recognize it and flee. Destiny recognizes it and bows. When you walk, realms shift. When you speak, atmospheres respond. You have become a carrier of divine presence, a walking reminder that grace wins, that mercy still finds the broken, that God still chooses the overlooked, chosen one. Hear this: your surrender was never weakness, it was your crowning moment. Heaven's archives record it as the day of divine alignment, the day you stepped into your royal identity. Do not let doubt erase what heaven wrote in gold. When you said yes to God, your name echoed in the halls of eternity. Every angel knows it, every demon fears it, and every time you rise again, heaven stands still once more. Before you scroll away, pause. This message found you for a reason. You didn't stumble here. Heaven led you here to remind you of that moment. You are not behind. You are not forgotten. You are aligned. Lift your head. The heavens are still rejoicing over you. Now, if this word speaks to your spirit, take a moment, like, share, and subscribe, so this message reaches every other chosen one who's ready to remember who they are. And as a prophetic act of agreement, comment this number below: 770. 7, the number of divine completion, heaven's signature over your surrender. Before the light broke through, there was war. You didn't know it then, but every sleepless night, every sudden wave of anxiety, every moment you wanted to give up was not random, it was resistance. Hell was terrified of what would happen the moment you surrendered. The darkness that once surrounded you was not there by coincidence, it was strategy. The enemy saw your potential long before you did, and he fought to keep you from realizing who you are. Chosen one. Before breakthrough comes battle. Before every crown, there is a crushing. You felt the weight because the war was real. The enemy didn't come after your possessions, he came after your peace. He attacked your mind because he knew if he could silence your spirit, he could delay your destiny. But even in the battle, even when you were unsure whether you could take another step, heaven was not silent. Every tear was counted. Every sigh became a signal. Heaven was preparing victory, while hell was celebrating too soon. You see, what the enemy tried to use to destroy you, God was already using to develop you. The confusion that once blinded you was actually birthing clarity. The rejection that broke you was carving humility into your soul. You thought you were being buried, but you were being planted. God was never punishing you, he was positioning you. It was in that hidden war, that invisible collision between doubt and destiny, that your faith began to take form. You learned to fight on your knees. You discovered that silence doesn't mean absence, and that pain doesn't mean punishment. There were nights when you asked, "Where are you, God?" And heaven whispered, "Closer than your breath." You didn't see it, but angels were standing around you, swords drawn, waiting for your surrender to become their signal. There is a secret in the spirit. The fiercest battles happen right before divine release. Hell fights hardest when heaven is closest. That's why everything seemed to fall apart before it finally came together. It's why you almost quit right before the miracle. God was testing your endurance, teaching you to trust what you couldn't see, proving that faith is not the absence of fear, but the refusal to bow to it. The Apostle reminds us in his letter to the Ephesians, chapter 6, verse 12, "Our struggle is not against flesh and blood, but against rulers, powers, and spiritual forces These words unveil the truth behind your battle. What you faced wasn't simply emotional turmoil or coincidence, it was a spiritual war over your purpose. But you were never unarmed. Heaven had already clothed you in unseen armor, preparing you to stand when others would have fallen, even in your confusion. Destiny was unfolding. Every loss was a lesson. Every heartbreak, a holy invitation. You didn't realize it, but you were being trained to hear heaven's voice, even when surrounded by noise. You were learning the rhythm of warfare, the balance between waiting and warring. You were being prepared for the moment when surrender would no longer feel like defeat, but victory. Chosen one. Remember how heavy it was. That heaviness wasn't just emotion, it was evidence that the unseen world recognized your calling. The pressure you felt wasn't random. It was the weight of purpose pressing against resistance. That's why you couldn't fit in. Why doors closed unexpectedly. Why people misunderstood you. The anointing you carry requires isolation before manifestation. God had to pull you away from the noise to fine-tune your spirit to His frequency. Every delay protected you. Every rejection redirected you. Every hardship refined you. Though it felt like abandonment, it was alignment. Heaven's timeline is never rushed, but it is always right. Looking back, you can see that the pain that almost destroyed you became the bridge that carried you to your yes. So now, when you remember those dark nights and desperate prayers, understand this truth. You were never losing, you were learning. Every battle brought you closer to the moment of surrender that made heaven celebrate. You were walking through the fire that would later set others free. Your tears baptized the soil where your purpose would grow. The battle before your breakthrough was not punishment, it was prophecy in motion. The storms were not proof of God's absence, but proof of your significance. You were never meant to die in the struggle. You were meant to rise from it radiant, refined, and ready. And now, heaven looks at you, not as the one who almost gave up, but as the one who endured until the light broke through. There was a moment, quiet, sacred, and almost imperceptible when the whisper came. It wasn't in the thunder or the earthquake. It wasn't in the chaos that surrounded you. It came like a breath, soft yet undeniable, carrying the sound of eternity through your spirit. You didn't know it then, but that whisper was heaven calling your name. It didn't demand it invited. It didn't condemn it awakened. That whisper was the voice of God breaking through the noise of your confusion, reminding you that you were never forgotten, chosen one. That whisper didn't find you by mistake. It found you because it was time. Time for the veil to lift. Time for the confusion to clear. Time for your heart to remember its origin. You see, long before you ever cried out to heaven, heaven had already spoken your name. You were always part of the plan. Every detour, every disappointment, every delay was leading you to that divine intersection where your spirit would finally recognize the call of its creator. It wasn't the loudness of the world that saved you, it was the softness of His voice. When everyone else's words blurred together in the noise of your exhaustion, God's whisper cut through like light through fog, and you heard it. Maybe not with your ears, but your spirit recognized its source. It was familiar, ancient, filled with love. It was the sound of home. The voice of God thundered in the book of 1 Kings, chapter 19, verse 12. And after the earthquake came a fire. But the Lord was not in the fire, and after the fire came a gentle whisper. That whisper carried the same presence that found Elijah in his moment of despair, and it found you too. You didn't need a sign written in the sky. Heaven wrote it directly into your heart. Do you remember that moment? The silence around you felt heavier than the noise ever did. The world wanted you to keep moving, to keep performing, to keep pretending everything was fine. But God said, "Be still." And in that stillness, truth surfaced. You realized that the very thing you feared letting go was the only thing standing between you and freedom. The whisper didn't come to scold you. It came to set you free. There are times when God doesn't shout because shouting would shatter you. He whispers because He's near. He doesn't need volume when proximity is the message. When His whisper touched your soul, everything that didn't belong began to tremble. Lies lost their grip. Doubt began to dissolve. You didn't change because someone convinced you. You changed because truth touched you. That whisper was holy strategy. It came after the noise, after the storm, after the heartbreak, because only then would your heart be quiet enough to hear. It wasn't weakness that brought you to that place. It was grace. The kind that pursues relentlessly and speaks gently. The kind that doesn't force its way in, but waits until you're ready to listen. Chosen one. The whisper wasn't small, it was sovereign. It carried the weight of eternity, the tenderness of love, and the authority of destiny. It didn't just call your name. It commissioned you. It said, "Rise." It said, "It's time." It said, "You're not finished." The whisper wasn't an ending, it was the announcement of your new beginning. And now, because of that whisper, your life is different. You see things through spiritual eyes. What once confused you now reveals its meaning. The battles that once terrified you now remind you of how far you've come. You walk with a stillness that hell cannot imitate, a peace that doesn't make sense to the world. That peace came from the same whisper that once rescued you from despair. Even now, heaven still speaks. The whisper hasn't stopped. It continues through moments of silence, through gentle nudges, through words that echo when you least expect them. The same God who whispered to Elijah and to you still whispers today, guiding, correcting, comforting, calling. And every time you obey, the whisper grows louder inside you, shaping your destiny. You didn't imagine it. Chosen one. You heard Him. And once you've heard His voice, no imitation can replace it. That whisper marked you. It made you His. Now, if that whisper has ever touched your soul, I want you to declare it aloud in the comments right now. I hear you. 3 simple words, but they shake the unseen realm. When you write them, you're not just responding to me, you're responding to heaven. It's your spirit saying, "Speak, Lord, I'm listening." Every time a chosen one confesses that, another wave of light floods the earth, because the whisper that once saved you is about to speak again. Listen closely. Beloved, heaven is not finished with you yet. Every tear you cried carried more power than you realized. Heaven saw every drop. Not one was wasted. Not one forgotten. You thought they were signs of weakness, but in truth, they were the language of your spirit. Prayers in liquid form. When your words failed, your tears spoke for you. When your faith trembled, your tears reached where your strength could not. In those moments of breaking, heaven leaned close. Chosen one, The world may overlook tears, but heaven records them. Each one holds memory, meaning, and movement. In the unseen realms, they become seeds of intercession. Every sigh, every moment you pressed your face into your hands in exhaustion was a conversation between your pain and God's promise. And though it felt like silence surrounded you, heaven was already responding. You didn't know it then, but those nights you felt completely alone were divine appointments. They were the sacred midnights where transformation began. Pain became prayer. Loneliness became invitation. And surrender. True surrender was born, not in your strength, but in your breaking. The ancient words recorded in the book of Psalms, chapter 56, verse 8 declare, "You keep track of all my sorrows. You have collected all my tears in your bottle. You have recorded each one in your book." That truth still stands. Heaven doesn't discard your sorrow, it documents it. Every tear you cried was written into the eternal story of redemption being woven through your life. When you wept, angels were dispatched. When your chest ached with unspoken grief, heaven translated it into worship. You thought you were collapsing, but you were being reshaped. Each tear carried a message. I still believe. And God heard that message every single time. The enemy thought your tears were signs of defeat. But heaven knew better. They were signals, flare, lights in the spirit, announcing that faith was still alive in you. Tears are not weakness, they are evidence of war. They mark where your flesh surrendered and your spirit took command. They are proof that, despite what you've endured, you never gave up. You wrestled with doubt, but you never walked away. You bled, but you still believed. Heaven celebrates those tears because they represent the purest form of worship, trusting God without visible proof. There were nights when your tears baptized the floor beneath you, and you wondered, does he still care? And the answer was yes. He never turned away. The sound of your weeping echoed through eternity like incense rising before his throne. In those moments, heaven was silent, not because God was absent, but because he was listening so closely that words were unnecessary. Tears do something sacred. They soften the ground of your heart so that divine truth can take root. Every time you cried, something in you broke. Yes, but something else was born. Compassion deepened. Pride died. Love expanded. What once felt like crushing pain became sacred soil for growth. You were being prepared to comfort others with the same comfort you received from God. Chosen one. Heaven did not despise your crying, it celebrated it, because it was the sound of surrender, the sound of purification. Your tears washed away illusions, exposed truth, and awakened grace. You were being stripped of what could not remain so that what was eternal could take its place. And now, those same tears that once symbolized despair have become evidence of endurance. They testify that you've survived what others didn't, that you've stood when your strength was gone. They are your proof that even in darkness, you kept your eyes lifted. Heaven calls such tears holy. One day, you will see how every tear you shed was connected to someone else's breakthrough. Every cry became a ripple in the spiritual realm, softening hearts, breaking chains, igniting faith in places you'll never step into. That's how powerful your pain has been. It was never just about you. Even now, God is weaving those tears into your testimony. You'll speak peace into others' storms because you've tasted pain. You'll bring healing to others' wounds because you've been pierced and restored. What once broke, you will soon build others. What once made you weep will soon make you rejoice. So, if you ever look back and remember those tear-stained nights, don't see them as wasted. They were holy offerings, altar moments where your heart met heaven. The day will come when you'll stand radiant and realize those tears were the very tools heaven used to write your redemption story. The same God who gathered your tears has already turned them into rain for your harvest. And when the time comes, what once made you cry will make you bloom. When heaven celebrated your surrender, it wasn't quiet, it was a roar of light across eternity. Imagine this, beloved, a great hall of angels, radiant and countless, their voices rising like the sound of rushing waters, trumpets of glory sounding, banners of gold unfurling in the wind of God's breath. The day you said, yes, the throne room became a festival of divine joy. All of heaven rejoiced, not because you became perfect, but because you came home, chosen one. Heaven's celebration was not a metaphor. It was a real sound in the unseen realm. The moment your heart yielded, the atmosphere shifted. Angels danced. Light expanded. Demons trembled. For when a soul turns fully toward God, the balance of eternity tips in favor of light once more. Do you know what that means? It means that your surrender caused movement in places you cannot see. The same way, a single spark can set a forest ablaze. Your obedience ignited a chain reaction of grace. The heavens do not celebrate wealth or fame, they celebrate return. Your yes was like the return of a prodigal light to its source. And that, beloved, is worth 1,000 hallelujahs. As Jesus himself declared in the Gospel of Luke, chapter 15, verse 10, I tell you, there is rejoicing in the presence of the angels of God over one sinner who repents. Those words were not written for a crowd. They were written for you. Heaven rejoiced over you. Every angel that day sang your name in the key of redemption. When the heavens erupted, something changed in you too. You may not have heard the songs, but your spirit felt lighter. The invisible weight began to lift. Suddenly, what once drained you began to release you. It was as if you had stepped into a current, God's current, carrying you toward your true identity. You were no longer wandering aimlessly. You were walking in rhythm with divine design. Heaven's joy over you was not a one-time event. It was a beginning. Every step you take in obedience echoes that celebration. Every act of kindness, every moment you forgive, every prayer whispered in the dark continues. Heaven's symphony. You are living proof that grace still rescues. That light still wins. Think of it this way. When rain falls on dry soil, it doesn't make a sound of applause, but underground. Roots begin to drink again. Heaven's celebration is like that. You may not always hear it, but you are living its evidence. Your peace, your strength, your clarity, all of it is the fruit of heaven's applause, still resonating through your spirit. And you, chosen one, have become part of that celebration. Your voice, your presence, your journey, all are instruments in heaven's ongoing song. Every time you share your story, you extend the sound of that heavenly joy into someone else's darkness. Every time you speak life where others see despair, the celebration spreads. You are both the miracle and the messenger. That's why what we do here matters. Every word you hear, every truth that reaches your heart, is not entertainment, it's a bridge. It's the continuation of heaven's song on earth. When you share this message, you're not just spreading words, you're sending light. When you subscribe or stay connected, you're helping this river of truth flow farther, reaching hearts that are still silent, still waiting for their whisper moment. And if your heart feels stirred to give, to sow into this flow, understand this. You are not just donating, you are watering heaven's garden on earth. You're giving the message wings. Every seed you sow becomes a spark in another person's night. There's no pressure, no demand, only invitation. Because the same God who celebrated your surrender now uses your generosity to awaken others to theirs. Imagine it. Somewhere, someone sits in darkness, scrolling, searching, ready to give up. Then your act, your share, your word, your support sends this message to them. And in that instant, heaven celebrates again. Another light awakens. Another soul hears the whisper. That's how heaven works, through ripples, through echoes, through willing hearts like yours. This isn't about numbers or platforms. It's about eternity reaching through you. So let your light continue to flow. Keep heaven's celebration alive by becoming part of its movement on earth. Because heaven's roar that day didn't end, it keeps echoing through every act of love, every prayer, every gift, every word shared in faith. The song hasn't stopped, and neither should you. So, chosen one, stand tall. You are heaven's melody, the living reminder that surrender is victory and obedience is freedom. Let the world hear through you what heaven heard that day, a sound of returning, rejoicing, and renewal. Heaven celebrated you once. Let your life make sure it never stops. When you surrendered, something unseen marked you. It was not visible ink, not earthly recognition, but fire. Heaven's fire. The moment your heart yielded, a divine seal was placed upon your spirit. From that day forward, you were marked by flame and covered by promise. The unseen world recognized you. Hell took notice. Heaven took responsibility. You became a living covenant, carrying the fragrance of God's ownership. Chosen one. This mark is not a scar of loss. It's a seal of belonging. It's the invisible crown of those who have walked through storms and refused to curse the rain. You are not just saved, you are sealed. Your surrender became heaven's signature, the official declaration that your life now moves under divine authority. No longer an ordinary vessel, you became a torch in a dark world. According to what is revealed in the book of Ephesians, chapter 1, verse 13, and you also were included in Christ when you heard the message of truth, the gospel of your salvation. When you believed, you were marked in him with a seal, the promised Holy Spirit. That seal isn't symbolic, it's spiritual reality. It means your name is etched into eternity's registry. It means heaven recognizes your voice when you pray. It means that no curse, no force of darkness can unmark what God has sealed. From that moment forward, everything about you began to shift. You may not have felt it instantly, but the transformation began deep within. Your spirit became magnetic to light. Environments changed when you entered them, the same way fire cannot be hidden under glass. Your anointing cannot be contained. The mark upon you radiates authority in the unseen world. You might not see the glow, but the darkness does. That is why you felt warfare after your surrender. The mark of God is both a crown and a target. The enemy doesn't pursue the lukewarm, he pursues the marked, because your very existence now threatens his dominion. The battles you face are not random, they are confirmations of your identity. Every struggle is proof that hell knows you've switched sides permanently. And yet, even in warfare, you carry peace, because those who are sealed cannot be stolen. You walk through storms carrying the calm of heaven. You speak, and atmospheres shift because the spirit within you speaks louder than the chaos around you. The fire that seals you is the same fire that purifies, guides, and empowers. This divine mark also means you have access to wisdom when confusion surrounds you, to strength when weakness overwhelms you, to presence when loneliness whispers. Heaven watches over what heaven owns. You are not wandering, you are watched. You are not exposed, you are enveloped. Every step you take has divine surveillance. Not to control, but to cover. You may wonder why the fire doesn't fade, why the conviction keeps returning, why you can't go back to what used to satisfy you. It's because marked ones don't belong to the world anymore. The seal on your soul is a declaration, this one belongs to me. You can run, but grace will find you. You can stumble, but mercy will pull you upright. Because heaven doesn't abandon what it anoints. You are a temple carrying holy flame. You were never designed to fit into cold systems or lifeless spaces. The fire on you demands growth, requiert surrender, and resists compromise. It burns away illusions and draws others to its light. That's why people are drawn to you, but can't always explain why. It's not charisma, it's calling. It's not personality, it's presence. You are a carrier of divine warmth in a world gone cold. And that fire, it is not meant to consume you, but to clarify you, to strip away every counterfeit identity until only truth remains. The seal of the Spirit doesn't imprison, it empowers. It teaches you how to walk in freedom without forgetting the fear of God. It reminds you that glory isn't something you chase, it's something you carry. So, chosen one, walk boldly. You have been branded by eternity's flame. The same fire that descended on Pentecost burns quietly within your soul. It is guidance. It is power. It is proof that you are never alone. When you pray, that fire speaks. When you worship, that fire expands. When you choose obedience, that fire grows brighter. Now pause for a moment. Feel it. That warmth you sense as you read these words is not imagination, it's recognition. Heaven is confirming the truth again. You are marked, sealed, and chosen. If this word ignites something inside you, I invite you to comment below this number. 444, a prophetic symbol of divine alignment and angelic covering. When you write it, you're not just typing digits, you're declaring, I am sealed by fire, guided by purpose, and protected by heaven. Let heaven see your agreement, and let hell know its mark no longer remains. You are fireborn, promise-bound, and heaven-owned. Walk as one who carries flame. You didn't see it happen, but something powerful took place the moment you obeyed. Chains you never knew existed began to shatter in silence. Invisible ropes of fear, guilt, and limitation fell away like dust in the wind. You felt lighter, not because your circumstances changed, but because your spirit did. Heaven broke what you couldn't even name. Chosen one. Some of those chains were ancient. They didn't start with you. They ran through generations. Patterns of pain passed down like inheritance. Cycles of shame, rejection, addiction, and self-doubt that whispered through your bloodline. But the moment you said yes to God, those generational chains heard the sound of finality. Your obedience didn't just free you, it rewrote your lineage. The prophet Elijah spoke as recorded in the first book of Kings, chapter 18, verse 39. When all the people saw this, they fell prostrate and cried, "The Lord, He is God. The Lord, He is God." That moment of revelation mirrors what happened inside you. Heaven revealed its power, and the altars of falsehood in your life collapsed. Every lie that claimed authority over you bowed to the name above every name. The truth is, you had been carrying chains disguised as normalcy. You thought constant striving was ambition. You thought self-sufficiency was strength. You thought silence was peace. But God saw deeper. He saw that those things were not strength. They were survival mechanisms forged in pain. You had learned to live within the walls that hurt built. And yet even there, grace found you. Your surrender was not only about salvation, it was about liberation. You didn't just walk into the light, you dragged your entire story with you. You brought the broken pieces, the wounded memories, the unanswered prayers, and God did not reject them. He redeemed them, one by one. He touched every chain that held you and turned it into testimony. At first, the breaking didn't feel like freedom. It felt like loss. You wondered why relationships fell apart, why certain doors closed, why the familiar suddenly became uncomfortable. But that was heaven's way of removing your shackles gently. Sometimes God doesn't snap chains loudly. He loosens them quietly until one day you realize you're no longer bound. There were habits that no longer fit you, environments that no longer welcomed you. What once entertained you began to feel hollow. It wasn't you changing yourself, it was the Spirit recalibrating your appetite. The fire that sealed you began purifying your desires, burning away everything that couldn't walk with you into purpose. Chosen one. Understand this. Freedom is not only about what you walk away from, but also about what you walk toward. God didn't just pull you out of darkness, He invited you into destiny. He removed your chains so you could lift others. Every pain you've known becomes a key, unlocking prisons in those who will one day hear your story. You were never meant to stay broken. The breaking was a process, not a permanent place. When God breaks chains, He also breaks silence. That's why your voice has power now. The same words that once trembled in fear now carry authority. When you speak, heaven backs your sentences with fire. When you pray, hell remembers the sound of the chains it lost. And though the world cannot see it, the spiritual realm recognizes a free soul. Freedom radiates. It shifts rooms. It exposes darkness. You've walked into places and felt resistance, not because you were out of alignment, but because your very presence disrupted oppression. The enemy hates what he can't control. You, chosen one, have become uncontrollable in the spirit. Freedom has also given you a new sensitivity. You notice when peace departs, when words carry weight, when atmospheres change. That's not paranoia, it's discernment. A gift that comes when the noise of bondage is silenced. The more chains fall, the clearer you hear heaven. But freedom also brings responsibility to stay free. You must guard your atmosphere. Not every voice deserves access. Not every friendship belongs to your new season. The chains are gone, but choices still matter. The enemy will try to rebuild what God has destroyed by tempting you with what once comforted you. Remember, nostalgia is not calling, it's camouflage. Your liberation is the beginning of generational healing. The same power that freed you is flowing forward, touching lives you'll never meet. Because when one chosen one breaks through, entire bloodlines breathe again. The unseen chains of others start to weaken when yours fall. Heaven celebrates every echo of that freedom. So now, walk boldly in your deliverance. The sound of clinking chains behind you is not a reminder of captivity, it's the melody of victory. You have crossed over from surviving to reigning, from being bound to being blessed. And the world will soon see what heaven has already proclaimed. The chains you didn't know were breaking have already become the proof that grace works. You are free, truly, eternally, gloriously free. The day you surrendered, heaven placed a crown on your spirit. You didn't see it, but it was real, crafted not from gold or jewels, but from purpose, endurance, and divine favor. The crown was invisible to human eyes, yet radiant in the spirit. It was heaven's declaration, "This one belongs to me. This one carries kingdom authority." Chosen one. You might not feel crowned when you wake up tired, when you walk through rejection, or when the mirror reflects your flaws, but heaven still sees royalty when it looks at you. The world measures crowns by appearance, but God measures them by obedience. Yours was placed the moment your yes echoed through eternity. You were crowned not for your achievements, but for your surrender. The Apostle reminds us in his letter to the second book of Timothy, chapter 4, verse 8. "Now there is in store for me the crown of righteousness, which the Lord, the righteous judge, will award to me on that day, and not only to me, but also to all who have longed for his appearing." That promise wasn't written for the perfect, it was written for the faithful. For those who keep believing, even when their knees tremble. Heaven's crown doesn't rest lightly, it rests securely. It is anchored in your perseverance, fastened by grace, and polished by trials. Every tear from section 4 became a jewel in that crown. Every battle from section 2 became its structure. Every act of faith, every quiet choice to forgive, to pray, to love again added shine to it. What the world called loss became your adornment. At first, you didn't know it was there. You still walked like a servant, even though heaven called you royal. You apologized for your light. You shrank your spirit to make others comfortable. You thought humility meant silence. But the crown didn't disappear. It simply waited for you to recognize it. The weight you sometimes feel on your spirit is not always oppression, it's glory. The presence of the crown carries responsibility. You cannot think small when you wear something designed by eternity. You cannot settle where you were once meant to reign. The divine crown demands alignment, a posture of spiritual maturity. It calls you to stand straighter, speak truth, even when it costs you, love without conditions, and walk with eyes fixed on heaven's horizon. You were not crowned for comfort, you were crowned for conquest. The purpose of your crown is not to decorate you, it is to authorize you. Heaven crowned you because someone on earth needs your example. Your faith becomes a light for others still trapped in fear. Your resilience becomes permission for others to hope again. The crown was never about personal glory, it was about divine influence. When you walk in your calling, you reflect the kingdom. Every time you choose faith over fear, mercy over bitterness, you tilt your crown forward, and heaven leans closer. Angels see the reflection of their king in your endurance. The enemy sees a reminder of his defeat every time you stand back up. Chosen one. Your crown is not fragile. It was forged in fire. Life's blows cannot dent it. People's opinions cannot remove it. Even when you stumble, it does not fall off. It only glows brighter under repentance. Because your crown is secured by blood, not behavior. The blood of the Lamb sealed your royalty before you ever earned a thing. There will be days when you forget you wear it. Days when discouragement whispers, when failure feels final. But even then, heaven never forgets. Angels still address you as royal. Heaven still responds to your prayers as the words of one crowned with covenant authority. You are not begging at the door, you are seated at the table. The tragedy is that many crowned ones never realize it. They live as if they're still servants begging for scraps, when in truth they carry scepters of grace. But you, beloved, are awakening to your royalty. Every revelation, every divine reminder, every whisper of encouragement is heaven tilting the mirror toward you, saying, "Look again, you're wearing glory." Amen. And though the world may never applaud you, heaven already has. The applause happened the moment the crown touched your spirit. It didn't come with cameras or confetti, it came with peace. True crowns don't shine to impress people, they shine to disturb darkness. Remember, even Jesus wore his crown before the resurrection, a crown of thorns, pressed deep into his brow. It was painful, humiliating, and misunderstood. Yet from that suffering, glory emerged. Your crown also has weight. It presses. It challenges. It reminds you that royalty and sacrifice are intertwined. But from that pressure comes radiance. When heaven crowned you, the earth noticed. You may not have realized it at first, but creation did. The very air around you began to shift. People started to sense something different, even if they couldn't explain it. Some were drawn closer, others pulled away. It wasn't personal, it was prophetic. The earth responds to those aligned with heaven. You had stepped into divine rhythm, and all of creation recognized its rightful ruler, walking again among them. Chosen one. The day you surrendered was not only a heavenly event, it was an earthly awakening. Nature responds to the presence of the anointed. Birds sing differently. Peace lingers longer. Rooms feel lighter when you walk in. That's not exaggeration, it's the ripple effect of spiritual authority. Heaven celebrated, but the earth adjusted. You became an instrument of divine order in a world of chaos, as was spoken in the sacred texts of old. In the book of Romans, chapter 8, verse 19, the creation waits in eager expectation for God's children to be revealed. The moment you stepped into your calling, the waiting ended, at least for one part of creation. You became evidence that heaven's promise still manifests on earth. But alignment does not always bring applause. The same light that draws the broken also exposes the counterfeit. Some people withdrew because the grace you carried reminded them of what they had buried. Others misunderstood your silence as pride, not realizing you were simply learning to speak heaven's language. You see, the world celebrates noise, but the anointed walk in quiet power. When you began to move differently, it wasn't arrogance, it was awareness. You could no longer dwell in the same conversations, chase the same desires, or stay in atmospheres that suffocated your spirit. That wasn't change by choice, it was transformation by calling. The light within you began to reorder everything around you, and the earth responded. Finances began to flow where there had been drought. Relationships healed or released, depending on what served purpose. Even your physical space began to mirror your spirit clutter, leaving peace entering, order returning. You didn't do it by force, you did it by alignment. When heaven and earth agree within you, life becomes synchronized, yet not every shift feels gentle. When the ground moves under divine instruction, some things crack so others can bloom. The shaking you felt recently isn't punishment, it's recalibration. God is removing everything that resists your new vibration. The earth cannot hold what heaven has not ordained. And you, chosen one, are becoming a living prophecy, proof that obedience reactivates creation. There's something sacred about how the world begins to honor you without even knowing why. It's not flattery, it's recognition. Favor is creation's language of respect toward the anointed. Doors open because the hinges themselves remember the touch of God. Systems shift because righteousness has entered the room. You don't have to announce yourself. The anointing already did. Even your words carry different weight now. When you speak peace, storms calm. When you declare healing, hearts respond. When you walk into chaos, structure begins to form. You are not merely existing, you are governing. Heaven doesn't send its children to survive, it sends them to steward. You are a governor of grace, an ambassador of balance, a reminder that divine order still reigns. And though you may still feel human, ordinary, unseen, know this: the unseen world bows when you rise. Creation listens when you breathe. The ground recognizes the steps of those who walk with heaven's authority. You are not trying to find your place in the world. The world is still adjusting to your presence. This is why you must never doubt your worth. The evidence of your transformation is not found in the validation of people, but in the cooperation of creation. The signs are around you: unusual peace, divine timing, restored clarity. These are heaven's confirmations that you have entered your true assignment. So, pause for a moment. Take a breath. Feel the weight of purpose in your chest and the stillness in the air. That's not coincidence, it's recognition. Heaven and earth are in agreement about you. If this truth resonates in your soul, comment below these words: I am seen. Just 3 words, but they carry authority. Because when you declare them, you align with creation's response. You affirm that you are not forgotten, not invisible, not small. You remind both heaven and earth that the chosen one has awakened and all of creation rejoices once more. You are seen, you are known, and the world itself now bends to make room for your purpose. The moment heaven marked you, angels were dispatched, not 1 or 2, but an army silent, radiant, and purposeful. You didn't see them, but you felt them. The sudden peace that replaced panic, the narrow escapes from danger, The inner strength that came when everything in you wanted to quit, those were not coincidences. That was angelic intervention. Chosen one. The day you surrendered, heaven assigned reinforcements. Divine sentinels stationed themselves around your life. Unseen guardians with one mission: to ensure that what God began in you will not be stolen. They go before you, clearing paths you don't even know are blocked. They stand behind you, covering what you can't watch. You are not walking alone, you are walking escorted. As the prophet wrote in the scroll of Psalms, chapter 91, verse 11, He will command His angels to guard you in all your ways. Those words are not poetic, they are a decree. The moment your name was spoken in the courts of heaven, assignments were written beside it. Angels were commanded, not requested, to keep watch, and they have not failed. Every near miss was not luck, it was protection. Every closed door that later made sense was divine timing. Every interruption that saved you from heartbreak or harm was the hand of your unseen army. They move faster than thought, brighter than lightning, and quieter than breath. Sometimes they appear through people: a stranger who offers help at the perfect moment, a friend who calls just as tears fall, a message that arrives when you needed hope most. Sometimes they manifest through delay, through the gentle no that redirects your destiny. Angels don't always look like wings and light. Often they look like divine interruptions that feel inconvenient, but end up saving your life. And though they do not seek attention, they celebrate obedience. When you forgive, they rejoice. When you pray, they draw closer. When you worship through pain, they rise in formation, strengthening the very atmosphere around you. The sound of faith activates them like a trumpet in battle. The unseen world watches you the way soldiers watch their king. Your courage gives them command. Your praise gives them purpose. When you stand firm, you make their service worth every unseen war they fight on your behalf. You are not weak. Beloved, you are heavily defended. Your angels have been present through every dark valley and every mountaintop. They stood guard at hospital rooms, near heartbreak, near temptation. You never walked alone through the fire. They walked beside you. And though you never thanked them, they never needed thanks. Their loyalty isn't earned, it's ordered by divine love. It is humbling, isn't it, to know that heaven considers your life worthy of an army, that your calling is so significant that God assigned eternal beings to ensure it reaches completion. But that's how serious your destiny is. That's how loved you are. Now, as you listen to this message, you're part of something much larger than a moment. You're standing in a movement of heaven's chosen ones, each one protected, each one awakened. Every word shared here sends ripples through the spiritual realm, strengthening those same angels who surround you. Because faith isn't just felt, it's multiplied. That's why what happens in this space matters. When you share these messages, you're not just spreading words, you're extending the wingspan of heaven's protection to others who haven't yet realized they're guarded too. When you subscribe, you're keeping yourself tethered to a stream of light that constantly feeds your faith. When you like, it's not for numbers, it's your way of saying amen in the digital realm. Your agreement that this light continues, and if your heart feels stirred to give, to support this flow, understand this. Generosity is how we build invisible altars across the earth. Every offering, no matter how small, becomes oil for this flame. It turns sound into sustenance, words into waves that reach nations. You're not donating to a person, you're investing in purpose. You're helping these messages find the next chosen one waiting in silence, scrolling in darkness, hoping for a whisper from heaven. Picture this: a single candle lighting another, then another, until the whole room glows. That's what your support does. Every action like share, subscribe, or give extends the fire farther. You become part of the angelic assignment itself, because the same God who sent angels to you now sends you as light to someone else. After the thunder of heaven's celebration faded, a new kind of silence came. Not the silence of absence, but of preparation. You had just stepped into promise, but God hid you again, not to punish you, but to strengthen you. The silence after victory is holy ground. It's where crowns are secured, where faith deepens roots, and where character catches up to calling. Chosen one. The silence after celebration is one of the greatest tests of the anointed. You expect glory to grow louder, favor to multiply quickly, breakthroughs to unfold like open doors, but instead, everything goes quiet. The voices fade, the signs pause, and heaven seems to stand still. That's when many mistake stillness for abandonment. But it is not. Stillness is strategy, as was spoken in the sacred texts of old. In the book of Isaiah, chapter 30, verse 15, "In quietness and trust is your strength." Those words are not poetic comfort, they are divine instruction. God hides his chosen not to diminish them, but to develop them. Silence is his workshop. Hiddenness is his refinement. The silence after your surrender was not rejection, it was recalibration. Heaven celebrated. Yes, but earth needed to adjust to your new frequency. The light within you was growing too bright for small rooms. You couldn't stay visible before you were stable. God wasn't withholding visibility, he was fortifying vision. It's easy to praise in the roar of breakthrough, but holiness is proven in the hush that follows. In the quiet, your motives are purified. The applause fades, leaving you alone with God's voice, and that's where intimacy is born. You learn to recognize his tone without noise. You begin to understand that faith isn't the ability to shout in crowds, it's the strength to whisper, yes, when no one's watching. Chosen one. That season of silence trained you for the weight of influence. It taught you to stop depending on affirmation. It stripped away the addiction to momentum. It showed you that true anointing doesn't panic in pauses. Heaven hides what it values most. Gold is not displayed while it's still being refined. It's kept under flame until purity gleams. You were that gold. Some days, you questioned the quiet. You wondered if you had done something wrong. But it wasn't punishment, it was permission. God was inviting you into deeper territory, where fruit grows underground before it appears above. The hidden years are heaven's way of anchoring greatness. Even Jesus, after the heavens opened and the Spirit descended, was led into the wilderness, not away from purpose, but into preparation. The same pattern unfolded in you. After surrender came silence. After fire came foundation. God was not delaying destiny, he was deepening you for it. And what happens in the silence is sacred. You learn to listen, to discern between his voice and your thoughts. You begin to see patterns, how God repeats truth through different signs, how peace confirms direction, how unease warns against missteps. Silence sharpens your hearing. It's in stillness that prophets are born, visionaries are molded, and leaders are remade. In that quiet time, God built resilience. He stripped you of validation cravings and replaced them with conviction. You stopped measuring success by visibility and began to measure it by obedience. You learned that unseen progress is still progress. The silence taught you to trust movement, even when your feet didn't feel it. Hiddenness also protected you. Had you been exposed too soon, envy would have surrounded you. Pride might have whispered to you, and distraction could have destroyed you. But in the silence, heaven shielded you from noise that would have derailed your focus. The delay was divine insulation. So if you ever find yourself in another quiet season, don't panic. Don't assume something's wrong. The same God who celebrated your yes still sits with you in silence. The music hasn't stopped. It's simply playing in a lower key. The conductor is changing tempo, preparing for the next crescendo. You'll know when the season shifts because peace will change shape. What once felt like stillness will start to feel like stirring. And when that stirring comes, you'll move again, not as the same person who entered silence, but as one forged by it. Remember this, the silence after the celebration is not the end of the song. It's the breath before the next verse. The orchestra of destiny never stops. It simply waits for the next divine cue. Chosen one. Don't despise the quiet. It's proof that God trusts you with the sacred in-between. It's the place where your heart learns heaven's rhythm again. You're not forgotten, you're being fortified. And soon, the stillness will break again. Heaven will speak. The next chapter will open. But when it does, you'll be different, stronger, wiser, and unshakably rooted. Because silence doesn't mean nothing is happening. It means everything is growing where eyes cannot see. The wilderness was not your punishment. It was your purification. When everything around you grew quiet, when familiar comforts disappeared, and when heaven seemed distant, that was the wilderness doing its work. You weren't abandoned. You were being refined. Every chosen one must walk through that valley where nothing makes sense, where prayers seem unanswered, and where the only thing left to rely on is faith itself. Chosen one. You must understand, God never wastes wilderness. It is His most sacred classroom. You may have thought you were wandering, but you were actually being led. The terrain of loneliness taught you direction. The drought taught you dependence, and the silence taught you discernment. Those dry, difficult days were the soil where your anointing took root. Heaven speaks clearly through the words in Deuteronomy, chapter 8, verse 2. Remember how the Lord your God led you all the way in the wilderness these 40 years, to humble and test you in order to know what was in your heart. Those words are your mirror. The wilderness was never meant to break you. It was designed to reveal you, to uncover the strength that pain had buried. You didn't lose your way in that season. You found your foundation. Every unanswered prayer shaped patience. Every delayed promise built endurance. Every tear became a tool in the potter's hand, shaping the vessel that could carry glory. God wasn't being silent to punish you. He was being silent to strengthen you. His silence wasn't rejection, it was construction. Do you remember those nights when your heart ached and your mind questioned everything? You whispered, God, where are you? But heaven whispered back, I'm right here. The difference was, He wasn't speaking to your ears, He was speaking to your soul. He wasn't leading you by sight, He was teaching you to walk by faith. The wilderness removed distractions so you could hear him without interference. Every divine promise comes with a wilderness. Before destiny manifest, it must be tested. Before light shines outward, it must be proven inward. You can't carry glory without first learning how to trust in drought. The wilderness strips away illusions of control. It shows you that provision isn't in resources, it's in relationship. You didn't survive because of your strength. You survived because heaven sustained you. The wilderness also exposed what couldn't stay. It revealed attitudes that needed healing, fears that needed naming, and pride that needed breaking. But even in correction, there was love. God never humiliated you, He humbled you. Because humility isn't weakness, it's the posture of power. When you knelt in surrender, heaven stood to attention. The wilderness is where you learn to value manna, the daily, quiet miracles that sustain your journey. A text of encouragement that came just in time, a stranger's kindness that restored your hope, a verse that glowed on the page like fire. These weren't coincidences, they were proof that even in desolation, heaven fed you. The wilderness stripped you of excess so that you could finally see how much you already had. Chosen one, look at you now. You carry the stillness of someone who has walked through storms and survived. Your eyes hold wisdom that can't be taught in comfort. The wilderness gave you depth that makes you dangerous to darkness. Because now, when others panic in their own wilderness, you can say, I've been there, and God was faithful. And the wilderness also made you untouchable in a holy way. What once scared you no longer controls you. You've seen too much of God's faithfulness to doubt Him now. You've walked too far in barren places to fear emptiness again. You've learned to trust the invisible provision of heaven more than visible guarantees. So when you think back on that season, don't mourn it, honor it. The wilderness didn't end you, it introduced you to the real you. You entered it uncertain and left it unshakable. You went in carrying questions and came out carrying answers. What the enemy called isolation, heaven called initiation. And now, as you step out of that season, something divine is shifting. You are moving from surviving to stewarding, from wandering to walking in authority. The same God who led you through the wilderness now leads you into promise. The same fire that guided you by night now fuels your every step. If this truth stirs your heart, if you know that your wilderness was really your awakening, then let this be your declaration. Comment this prophetic number below. 888, the number of new beginnings, resurrection, and divine cycles of renewal. It's your way of saying, I've walked through the dry land, and I am ready for the river. Heaven sees it. The wilderness has ended, and now the promised land is calling your name. When you emerged from the wilderness, something in the spirit world shifted. The moment your feet touched new ground, darkness trembled. You didn't notice at first, you were still catching your breath, still wondering what was next, but the atmosphere recognized you before you recognized yourself. You carried something different now. The wilderness had not weakened you, it had weaponized you. Chosen one. Your light was no longer gentle, it was authoritative. It didn't flicker or waver as it once did. It burned steady, confident, pure. The trials that once threatened to extinguish you had refined you into flame. The wilderness didn't just prepare you, it made you dangerous to darkness. The voice of God thundered in the book of John, chapter 1. Verse 5. The light shines in the darkness, and the darkness has not overcome it. That verse isn't merely a comfort, it's a decree. It is heaven's legal statement over your life. The light within you is undefeatable. Darkness can circle, whisper, and deceive, but it cannot win. The moment you stepped out of the wilderness, you became a living expression of that truth. People around you began to notice something different, though they couldn't name it. Some felt peace near you, others felt conviction. That's because the light you carry disrupts both chaos and complacency. Darkness doesn't fear religion, it fears revelation. And you, chosen one, are now a walking revelation of God's faithfulness. You have probably wondered why, after surrendering to God, some things got harder. Why opposition seemed to rise. Why certain people became distant. Why spiritual warfare intensified. It's because the darkness recognized your authority. You are no longer prey, you are a problem. Every time you step into a room, unseen shadows scramble. Every time you pray, invisible realms shift. The very atmosphere has to respond to the authority of the Spirit that lives in you. But this doesn't mean you must live afraid of battle. On the contrary, it means you have already won. The fight you're in is proof of the ground you've taken. The enemy doesn't waste ammunition on those who pose no threat. His resistance is your evidence. Every attack confirms your advancement. You now carry a presence that repels oppression. Where others feel fear, you bring peace. Where confusion reigns, you bring clarity. The light within you cannot be borrowed or imitated. It is the result of personal fire, of tears turned into oil. You didn't learn this from sermons alone. You learned it from survival. Every scar you carry now glows with authority. And though your light terrifies darkness, it also draws the broken. The same power that drives demons away also draws souls who are seeking freedom. You are a safe harbor for the weary, a lighthouse for the lost. People will find you, not because you seek them, but because heaven sends them. They'll come, not knowing why. Only that peace seems to rest near you. This is the paradox of being chosen. Your light comforts and confronts. It heals and exposes. You become both a refuge and a mirror, revealing truth simply by existing. That is why discernment becomes essential. Not everyone drawn to your light comes to be healed. Some come to feed off your fire. Protect your oil. Beloved, not everyone who admires your glow intends to honor your source. You'll notice, too, that your prayers carry more weight now. Heaven hears your words differently because you speak from alignment, not ambition. You no longer beg, you declare. You don't chase signs, they follow you. The authority of your light is not arrogance. It's evidence that the Spirit within you reigns still. Remember, the power you carry is not for domination, it's for restoration. God didn't give you light to blind others, but to guide them. Every act of mercy, every gentle word, every moment you choose forgiveness when bitterness would be easier. Those are the ways your light conquers darkness. You wage war through love, and that love will not always be easy. Sometimes it will feel like stretching, like giving when you're tired, like standing firm when misunderstood. But that's what powerful light does, it endures. The sun doesn't argue with shadows, it simply shines until they flee. Your light terrifies darkness not because it's loud, but because it's unwavering. The enemy cannot intimidate what refuses to flicker. The more you trust God, the steadier your glow becomes. You have become a living testimony that faith doesn't fade, it fuels. So, walk boldly. Chosen one. Don't shrink back. Don't hide what heaven has ignited. Your very existence is warfare. Your joy is rebellion against despair. Your peace is defiance against chaos. You don't need to prove your power, you just need to stay lit. The darkness that once pursued you now fears you. The same pits that tried to swallow you now echo with the sound of your victory. For the light in you doesn't merely survive the night, it defines it. And wherever you go, darkness loses ground simply because you walked in. Glory has a cost. Every chosen one must learn this truth. The brighter the anointing, the heavier the weight. The glory that rests upon your life is not ornamental, it is functional. It equips you to carry heaven's presence into human pain. But with that honor comes a holy burden, one that few understand, and even fewer are willing to bear. Chosen one. The cost of carrying glory is not measured in money or status, it's measured in surrender. It is the daily crucifixion of comfort, the quiet, yes, in moments when your flesh wants to run, the tears you never post, the prayers no one hears, the sacrifices that leave you emptied, yet fulfilled. That is the price of walking with God at this depth. According to what is revealed in the book of 2 Corinthians, chapter 4, verse 17, for our light and momentary troubles are achieving for us an eternal glory that far outweighs them all. These are not light words, they are the weight of eternity condensed into a sentence. Every hardship you've endured was producing something invisible but eternal. Your pain was currency in the economy of glory. You've likely felt it, the isolation that follows revelation, the distance that forms between you and what once felt familiar. When glory settles on a person, it changes their appetite. What once satisfied no longer nourishes. Conversations that used to entertain now drain you. The music, the noise, the distractions, they all lose power. That's not loneliness, that's holiness, reshaping you from the inside out. Carrying glory also means being misunderstood. People will project motives you don't have. They will misread your silence as arrogance, your conviction as judgment, your boundaries as rejection. But they can't see what you carry. They don't feel the fire that burns behind your ribs when heaven speaks. They don't understand that your stillness isn't distance, it's stewardship. You're protecting something sacred that the world cannot handle casually. The cost is also in the unseen battles. There are days when warfare presses against your mind, when old fears knock on your door, when weariness whispers that you should settle. But even then, glory sustains you. The same fire that refines you also defends you. And though the weight feels unbearable at times, it's shaping you into someone unbreakable. To carry glory is to live in paradox. You feel pain and peace at the same time. Strength and surrender. Fire and gentleness. You become both fragile and fierce. You cry easily, yet you stand firmly. You love deeply, yet you guard wisely, because the vessel that holds glory must stay both soft enough for mercy and strong enough for war. Chosen one. Glory isolates you so it can illuminate you. God sometimes hides you from crowds so that when He reveals you, no one can take credit. The delay, the silence, the solitude, all of it is divine strategy. Glory doesn't rest on the impatient. It settles on those who've learned to wait without wavering. And yes, the cost will sometimes hurt. It will cost you the version of yourself that once needed approval. It will cost you relationships built on comfort rather than calling. It will cost you the illusion of control. But in return, it gives you something the world cannot manufacture: presence, the nearness of God, the calm in chaos, the assurance that even when everything shakes, you will not fall. That nearness becomes your reward. The longer you walk with Him, the more you realize that the cost was never loss, it was investment. Every time you said no to what glittered, you said yes to what glows. Every time you obeyed in pain, heaven added oil to your lamp. You didn't lose anything real, you made room for something eternal. There's also a sacred loneliness that comes with glory, because few can walk with you at this altitude. The air is thinner up here. Conversations become fewer, but clearer. Your circle may shrink, but your clarity expands. And though the road narrows, the presence beside you grows stronger. You may walk alone at times, but you never walk abandoned. Even the weight of responsibility that comes with revelation, the pressure to carry it right, to speak it right, to live it right, God helps you bear that too. The same Spirit that places glory upon you carries it with you. You are not walking beneath it, you are walking within it. So if you ever feel the heaviness again, don't despise it. That weight is proof that heaven still trusts you with holy things. Glory is heavy because it's real. It bends pride, breaks self, and births compassion. It teaches you that greatness in God's kingdom is not about elevation, it's about endurance. There comes a point, chosen one, when your voice can no longer stay silent. The same Spirit that whispered to you in the wilderness now calls you to speak, not for attention, but for awakening. The fire that once burned privately in your chest begins to demand expression. Your story is no longer just yours. It becomes a trumpet for others still trapped in their silence. The day you surrendered, heaven didn't just heal you, it commissioned you. You were never meant to keep your transformation hidden. You were meant to release it. The words you carry aren't random, they're assignments. The message inside you is a seed. And every time you speak, share, or write, that seed finds soil in someone else's heart. Your voice isn't noise, it's nourishment. The Apostle reminds us in his letter to the Romans, chapter 10, verse 14. How can they hear without one preaching to them? That doesn't mean you need a pulpit or a stage, it means you carry sound. Heaven placed truth within your breath. And when you release it, it pierces through confusion, depression, and despair like light through storm clouds. You felt it, haven't you? That stirring deep inside when you hear others in pain, the urge to reach out, to say, I've been there, you can make it. That's not just empathy, it's anointing. You are heaven's amplifier, transmitting frequencies of hope to souls too tired to listen anymore. When you speak, darkness loses ground. When you testify, chains loosen in unseen rooms. Your voice is your trumpet, and this world needs its sound. Think of yourself as a lighthouse on a foggy coast. Ships wander in confusion. Waves crash, and the night feels endless, but your light cuts through it. That's what your story does. Every post, every prayer, every conversation soaked in authenticity becomes a beam of rescue. You may never meet those you touch, but heaven tracks every ripple. And that's why this space, this digital sanctuary, exists to amplify the voices of heaven's chosen. When you share these messages, you're not just spreading content, you're sending lifelines. Each click, each repost is like throwing a rope into a raging sea for someone who's about to give up. You might never know the faces you save, but God does. When you subscribe or stay connected, it's not about following, it's about flowing. It keeps you plugged into a current of truth that keeps your spirit alive when the world tries to drain it. Every notification, every video, every word released here is another spark meant to remind you you're not alone, and you're not done yet. And if you ever feel led to give, to sow into this message, do it as an act of worship, not obligation. Think of it like watering a field that keeps feeding others. Every donation becomes oil for the flame, fuel that keeps this light burning for those still searching. You're not funding a platform, you're feeding a purpose. Your generosity becomes part of the story, each offering a seed that heaven multiplies into transformation for countless souls. Just imagine, somewhere right now, someone is scrolling in despair, and your act of giving becomes the reason a message reaches them in time. That's not coincidence, that's kingdom mathematics. One act of obedience echoing into eternity. And I'll say this with humility and sincerity: when you comment, when you write your reflections, it's not just engagement, it's confirmation. Your words become part of a living testimony. Someone else reads them and finds courage. Heaven records every digital amen as worship. So, don't underestimate the ripple of your agreement. Think of this space as a vineyard. Every like is a drop of sunlight. Every share is a breath of wind helping the seeds scatter. Every gift is rain, nourishing unseen roots. Together, we are cultivating something that will outlive us, an orchard of voices, each bearing fruit for generations. Because your voice, chosen one, was never meant to echo in isolation. It was meant to harmonize with others, awakened by the same fire. Together, our collective sound becomes thunder, a declaration that darkness does not win. That light still speaks, that hope still sings. So let your voice rise. Share the message. Tend the vineyard. Feed the fire. You were never meant to be silent. You were meant to be heard. Heaven didn't give you a trumpet to decorate it, gave you one to sound. And as you do, remember, each time you share, someone's night ends. Each time you support, another flame ignites. Each time you speak, heaven listens and hell trembles. So keep the song alive. Keep your trumpet lifted, and keep the light burning until every heart that needs to hear, hears. Even after heaven's roar and the earth's recognition, something extraordinary continues, an endless rhythm of celebration that does not fade. Heaven has no clocks, no nights, no ends to its songs. And even now, it rejoices every time you choose obedience over hesitation, every time you trust instead of fear. Heaven celebrates again. Every small yes you whisper reignites that same melody that first erupted the day you surrendered. Chosen one. Heaven's celebration isn't a single event, it's a continuum. Its music weaves through time itself, echoing through the choices you make, the prayers you lift, the love you show. Every step of faith you take writes another verse in the eternal hymn, sung in your honor not because of your perfection. but because of your perseverance. As Jesus himself declared in the Gospel of Matthew, chapter 25, verse 23, "Well done, good and faithful servant. You were faithful with little. I will make you ruler over many." Those words are not reserved only for the end of life. They resound every time you remain faithful in the ordinary. Heaven claps in rhythm with your obedience. You might not hear the sound, but your spirit feels it. That strange warmth after you choose forgiveness instead of resentment. That's heaven's applause. That peace that follows when you obey. A quiet prompting that's the echo of angels singing again. You are constantly surrounded by celebration because the kingdom never grows tired of faithfulness. Many believe heaven celebrates only when miracles happen. But you know better now. Heaven celebrates growth in secret places. When you decide to pray instead of panic. When you choose patience in uncertainty. When you love without reward, those unseen victories make the heavens thunder with joy. What looks small on earth shakes eternity. This continuous celebration is why you keep feeling grace rush in right after moments of surrender. It's why, even in hard seasons, peace suddenly returns like a song. You forgot, but still remember the melody to. It's heaven reminding you that the orchestra never stopped it, merely lowered its volume until your next yes turned it up again. Heaven celebrates not only who you are, but who you are becoming. You are unfolding, layer by layer, revelation by revelation. Every step forward, every healed wound, every brave act of obedience expands the joy of heaven. And though you can't see it, your name still rings through the halls of glory, sung by angels who witnessed your transformation. When you walk in forgiveness, heaven celebrates restoration. When you speak truth, heaven celebrates courage. When you lift another person instead of judging them, heaven celebrates compassion. These celebrations are waves of divine rhythm, eternal and synchronized with the heartbeat of God himself. You've likely felt it without realizing it. The sudden burst of joy in prayer, the unexplainable peace that floods your chest, the tears that come when you worship alone. Those are moments when heaven's celebration touches earth through you. The veil grows thin, and you glimpse eternity's delight. Even creation joins the celebration. The wind seems gentler, the sun warmer, the world strangely responsive when your spirit aligns with heaven. Every obedient act harmonizes the natural and the supernatural. Your very breath becomes part of the worship. That's why your presence matters more than you realize. When heaven and earth agree in you, joy manifests around you. But heaven's celebration is not noisy for noise's sake. It's purposeful. Each time they rejoice, angels are not only singing, they are strengthening you. Their praise becomes your protection. Their melody becomes momentum. Joy is not merely sound, it's fuel. Heaven's joy over you keeps you moving when exhaustion whispers to quit. And even when you stumble, when mistakes blur your steps, heaven's celebration pauses but never ends. Grace steps forward. Mercy resets the tempo, and the song begins again. You cannot out-sin his patience or outrun his purpose. The rhythm of redemption plays through every detour. Chosen one. Imagine it, an infinite choir, endless light, and your name woven into the song. You are not a background note, you are part of the melody. Heaven's joy over you is not obligation, it's affection. It rejoices, not because you perform, but because you belong. So every time you wake up and decide to try again, heaven cheers. Every time you love in the face of rejection, heaven sings louder. Every time you whisper, "I trust you," angels lift their wings in rhythm. This continuum of celebration will follow you all your days through battles, victories, quiet mornings, and long nights. And when your journey on earth ends, the same song that began on the day of your surrender will crescendo once more as you step into eternity's full light. Heaven will not begin to celebrate, then it will simply continue what it has never stopped. Now you stand where the circle closes and opens again at the edge of fulfillment, where destiny is no longer a distant promise, but a living pulse within you. Every trial, every whisper, every tear and triumph has led to this moment. Heaven's celebration that began with your surrender now resounds through your being. You are no longer the one searching, you are the one found. No longer the wanderer, you are the witness, chosen one. This is what it means to be crowned in glory and standing in purpose. You were refined through fire, not to prove your worth, but to reveal it. You carry on your spirit, the fragrance of victory that hell cannot imitate and heaven cannot forget. You walk now as one who has been through both war and worship, through silence and song, and come out radiant. The ancient words recorded in the first book of Peter, chapter 5, verse 10 declare, "And the God of all grace, who called you to his eternal glory in Christ, after you have suffered a little while, will himself restore you and make you strong, firm, and steadfast." That promise is your reflection now. Restoration has already begun. Strength has replaced fragility. What once broke you has become your testimony. You have learned that divine purpose isn't about grandeur, it's about alignment. Purpose doesn't always look like stages or applause. Often, it looks like quiet obedience, steady faith, unseen faithfulness. You have learned to value the hidden over the hurried, the eternal over the immediate. The fire in you burns steadier now, not because life grew easier, but because your roots grew deeper. Glory no longer feels heavy, it feels natural. The weight you once feared has become your rhythm. What once frightened you now fuels you. You know how to walk with heaven's light and not let it blind you. You've become fluent in stillness, fluent in trust. You can sense when heaven shifts, when God moves, when peace leads the way. You are no longer reacting, you are responding. Purpose has a sound, and it's the steady beat of surrender that never stopped within you. The same heartbeat that once trembled in fear now moves in rhythm with divine will. You've become what heaven intended, a vessel that carries light without leaking it, a temple that shelters presence without needing to prove it. And now, you walk differently. There's confidence in your steps, but not pride, only peace. You've stopped running from pain because you see how it refined you. You no longer chase validation because you've met the voice that already approved you. You carry authority not because you demand it, but because heaven recognizes you as one of its own. Those who meet you now may not know your history, but they will feel your healing. They won't understand your glow, but they'll sense your gravity. You have become a walking altar wherever you go. Atmospheres bend, hearts soften, and faith awakens. This is the legacy of surrender, not perfection, but presence. The world will still shake. Storms will still come, but they can no longer move you. Your roots are wrapped around eternity itself. You have learned that peace is not the absence of trouble, it is the presence of God within it. And because of that, you no longer beg heaven to calm the storm. You stand and command the storm to recognize your authority. You are now living proof that surrender is not defeat, but dominion. You didn't lose your life. You found it. You didn't fall behind. You were being forged. You didn't break down. You broke through. Heaven's celebration over your surrender was not about escape. It was about empowerment. The roar that once filled eternity now resides quietly inside your soul. Chosen one, your purpose will not end here. The song continues, and you are part of its melody forever. The same God who led you through valleys and wilderness now leads you into fields of fruitfulness. The same hands that refined you now release you. You have become heaven's ambassador of restoration, sent to remind the broken that surrender still opens doors and that grace still writes new chapters. And when you look back one day, you'll realize it was all connected. The breaking, the building, the waiting, the rising. Every silence was a seed. Every test was a teacher. Every delay was direction. Nothing was wasted. Every thread of pain and praise was woven into this tapestry of glory you now wear as a crown. So stand now, not as one waiting for approval, but as one already chosen. Let heaven's celebration continue through your breath, your choices, your kindness, your courage. You are not just part of the story, you are the evidence that God still writes beautiful endings. The story may reach its final words, beloved, but heaven's message never ends. You have walked through revelation, fire, silence, and song, and now, the light that began in these pages belongs to you. Carry it. Let it burn quietly in your daily life, in your words, in your kindness. You are not leaving the story, you are becoming its next chapter. If this journey has stirred something in you, if your heart feels awakened, if your spirit feels seen, don't let it fade. Share this message so another chosen one may remember who they are too. When you like, comment, or subscribe, you are not feeding an algorithm, you are keeping heaven's voice alive in the digital wilderness. And when you comment below, let it be more than words. Let it be testimony. Tell the world what you've learned, what you've felt, what heaven reminded you of here. Every reflection becomes another spark in this constellation of faith we're building together. Stay close. Stay luminous. Stay listening. The same heaven that celebrated your surrender still celebrates every step you take forward. Keep walking in purpose. Keep shining your light. And let's keep the story alive together.